4,280. That's the number of students that we're here to talk about tonight. My job is to ensure that all are equal on their education endeavor. The board is here to ensure that we do what is right, possibly not what is popular. This isn't a meeting about transgender students. This is a meeting about policy and how it affects all students. The fire that has come from some of the people can be echoed back in racism, back in the 60s. Again, this isn't about one group. It's about the whole group. We've had several transgender students in our school system for the past several years. Until now, we've been able to work out plans where the students were permitted to use staff restrooms. We currently have a student who wants to exercise his legal rights as understood by 3 federal court appellate court decisions and 8 district court decisions to use the facility he identifies with. After seeking legal advice, including our board attorney, Mr. Phil Lambert, Premier School Law Firm in Georgia, Harbin, Hartley, and Hawkins, and Hall, Booth, and Smith, their advice is to follow the law as it is in the Adams case. I've asked for decisions from several routes to our Attorney General, for our Attorney General to make a decision on this particular issue. I don't believe that it should be just Pickens County that has to pay the litigation issues for something that affects the entire state of Georgia. But in beginning tonight, I must apologize for misquoting the federal case out of Florida on Channel 5. I did state that it was an 11th Circuit Court of Appeals decision, which bound us by law. This case is being heard by the 11th Circuit December the 2nd. I have the legal advice that I was given is that we need to follow the federal court cases across the country, especially the one in Florida. And I was told that if we choose to fight the legal decisions of these court lawsuits, we most likely we would lose. It is an understanding that in these cases, such as these, when a judgment is awarded, it opens the door for the losing side to pay all attorney fees. This type of case could cost our county hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. I know that this has torn our county into parts, and I'd like to say that I am very disappointed and embarrassed about the way some of our leaders, men and women that I have a great deal of respect for, the way that they have responded on Facebook about a number of our children. And I hate that that has even happened. I understand the emotions on both sides are extremely high. I would like to announce a couple of things that I have begun, and then we'll start listening to speakers in just a second. I have met with our architects and our contractors to come up with a plan on having to change all of our restrooms to single-use restrooms instead of multiple people restrooms. But I'm going to ask the board at our next meeting to approve a new discipline directive. Proactive protection being put in place for all students. And I'd like to read that to you tonight. Any student found entering, exiting, or occupying a specific facility that is specified for a gender that is different from the gender indicated on the student's school records, the following shall occur. Parents will be contacted. And then after review of the incident, if it's determined that entrance into the facility was not associated with gender equity or identity, the student will be suspended for the remainder of the school year. The suspension will include all school events and extracurricular activities, including prom and graduation. If any student makes a false report in full or in part, any student who makes an intentional false report of any activities concerning the use of facilities or any discriminatory activities or threats against any student, the following shall occur. the student will be suspended for the remainder of the school year, and the suspension will include all school events and extracurricular activities, including prom and graduation. Making threats of any kind against any student, staff, or damage to the facility. Any student who participates in written or verbal threats on or off school property or through the use of social media, the following will occur. The student will be suspended for the remainder of the school year, and the suspension will include all school events and extracurricular activities, including prom and graduation. If any of these instances rise to the level of violating local ordinances or state law, the case will be referred to law enforcement for prosecution. The above is addition to the existing provisions that we currently have in our student code of conduct relative to bullying and harassing, one thing that we will not tolerate. Again, I'd like to stress that we're dealing with transgender students, and we have several transgender students. The way we're going, is not going to permit what many of you are afraid of, boys going in girls' restrooms just because they want to. They will be severely disciplined. Just like I said, if that's what is occurring, they will be severely disciplined for the rest of the school year. And I hope that alleviates that particular fear at the moment. At this time, we're going to select, and the way we did it, we had all the people that wanted to speak put their name on the list, and we're going to draw out by numbers, and that's the order in which we're going to speak. Please remember to be courteous, to be kind, and also cautious of the amount of time you spend so that everybody has the opportunity to speak.
Are we going to be able to ask questions?
The purpose was that anybody could speak that wanted to speak. And if there's issues that need to be addressed. If you want to speak and make comments, then you need to sign up. We've got to take some sort of order. All right, Ms. Destiny, where are you?
Right here.
Okay, who's the first speaker?
Nola Richards.
Who? I'm sorry, who?
Nola Richards. So do her down.
The way that we put all the names by numbers in a hat, and we've drawn the names out, and that's the way that we're selecting the speakers in order.
Nathan Barfield.
Nathan Barfield.
Good afternoon. I have 2 kids in the Pickens County School system. I am a person who normally does not mind getting up and speaking. However, this is very hard to do for most of us. Most people in here probably won't get up and speak because of the fear of retaliation. My son would barely speak to me about it. And it's heartbreaking. I can sympathize with the parents of the kids who want their child to feel comfortable. However, I feel that there's a lot of parents in here whose children also feel very uncomfortable. As a traditional Southern-raised gentleman, I would never in my life use a restroom in which a female was in. I believe you can tell from the people around me, most of them feel the same way. Now, no person's rights are more important than anybody else's. My intention here is not to bully anyone. My intention is to make sure all of us and our children are treated fairly. Now, my son has a huge heart, and he doesn't want to say anything for fear that he is going to be labeled a bully. My son himself has been bullied and doesn't want anybody to feel that way. I don't want to make anybody feel that way. That's not how I've raised my kids. I'm not concerned about two kids slipping off in a bathroom to spend time with each other. Kids that want to do that will find a way to do it at school or after school or any other time. We've all been teenagers at some point. My concern is my son's level of comfort that is now being changed, and he has done nothing wrong. I also don't see anything wrong with my opinion. I don't believe anybody's going to change my opinion. And I'll be one of the first ones to stand up and help defend anybody's rights. I can say that because I've been a U.S. soldier and I've been a deputy sheriff. So please, before anybody wants to try and impugn my integrity, please consider that I try to live my life with honor and integrity.
Amen.
I put my life on the line many days for complete strangers. I will do so again gladly. But I will never let my own family's rights be overlooked or trampled on the way I was raised to be trampled on, simply because someone else feels uncomfortable. There have been accommodations made so that these situations can be handled with respect and dignity. If someone has a special need, and I do not think that this is not a special need, I completely concede where it would be a special need. Not a handicap, not any of that stuff, but a special need. As it is a special request, judging by the 500 people that are in here, it's pretty special. Since accommodations have been made already to me as an outsider looking in, it seems that this is nothing more than a political stunt and to gain attention. If I have to use a bathroom, I will use whichever one is closest. I don't go trying to find one that I can make people let me use. There's plenty of bathrooms in this school, and while I can appreciate the school's position as members of the community where our kids go, I don't care what some court in some distant far off place says about our school. I love everybody. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to have fair share of everything. But I don't want it to be about gaining attention. If you got to use the bathroom, just use the bathroom.
Sir, I'd like to personally thank you for your service in the military and law enforcement. Thank you very much. I would like to say one thing. I don't understand the feeling, either from students or adults, that anything that they say or an opinion they have, they're going to be retaliated against. I'm serious. If you know me, and you know me, those that know me know that I don't tolerate that. And I don't. But I don't want anybody here tonight not speak because they feel intimidated or that reprisals will occur. Because I'm going to say this. I appreciate each, now we're going to stay calm. I appreciate every one of you here tonight. I thank you for coming tonight. And I thank you for being as emotional as you are about your children. Because that tells me how much you care for your children. The parents that don't care at all and never show up about anything, those are the parents that upset me. Not the ones that are truly here for the betterment of their children in our community. So thank you for coming tonight. All right, next speaker.
Thank you for having us here tonight, Carlton Wilson. We really appreciate it. And I just want to go off of the last speaker and say you're right. You should be able to use any restroom that you want to use. So thank you for making that point, sir. And also, I just want to let the LGBTQ community know that we are here for your support. We do support you 100%. This is not about left or right. This is not a public agenda. This is about humanity, and this is about equal rights. I don't want to be here as much as anyone else to talk about this topic, but it's here, and it's now, and we have to, and we don't have a choice. So the way that I think about it is this is happening whether anyone likes it, disagrees with it or not. So the best thing we can do for the safety of our children, for the faculty, for anyone, is to do this in the most loving, equal, best way possible. This is going to happen. So let's be standing together hand in hand for our kids, for our grandchildren. This is about love. This is not about separation. I feel like we're only going backwards, so let's move forward. And I also want to bring to the attention, let's not get too distracted over this situation about a bathroom, and let's realize also we're talking about arming teachers. So I think that is a bigger subject. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Rusty here, and I haven't been a police officer.
Hold on, excuse me, Mr. Russell. All right, we're going to stay calm. If we don't stay calm, I'm going to ask you to leave. So I want everybody to voice their opinion, but we're going to stay calm and we're going to stay civil with each other. Sorry.
And I think that's awesome. I applaud you guys for being here. I don't guess you had to do this, but you did. But mainly you're here to represent us. And I appreciate your heart to hear all of us. And just like we've heard both sides of the equation just now, you know, there's even more than two sides. there's looking at it from every side. Again, I'm not a police officer. I've never served, but I am who I am. And one part of that is a pastor. And I wonder, how does God look at this? Because none of this takes God by surprise. He's not sitting in heaven saying, oh my, what are we going to do now? He has a plan. And ultimately, being American, being from the South, especially the Bible Belt, that should be the first place we go. To get our boundaries. Because without His boundaries, He didn't set those boundaries to condemn anybody. God loves everybody. He is not afraid of your sin. His Son already paid for it. He's not afraid of your mess-ups. He can handle any mess-up. What He wants you to do is have a better understanding of a better life. And if we'll look to Him, He will guide us through these tough times. If we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, He's with us. He's going to be with us through everything. Nothing's worse than death. So if He's with us there, He's going to be with us through this. And so, here, my point in all this is, yes, this last young lady talked about equal rights. And I agree. We should offer equal rights. Equal rights for every human being. Every human being. But even equal rights has boundaries. There's nothing more unfair than a person to be born handicapped. And yet, our great country provided for handicapped. But they put boundaries. They haven't provided slings to make a child be able to stand up to use the bathroom. They provided a bar. There's boundaries. And we learn to live with those boundaries. I believe, I haven't had to face it as a parent. I've sent 4 kids to Pickens County Schools. I've got 2 grandkids in these schools. I've got 3 more going to be in these schools. And I hope a whole lot more grandkids. I love my grandkids. But every one of them, even one of my kids had special needs. No, he wasn't handicapped. He had special needs. And he had to live, to get the education, he had to live within the boundaries that y'all set. Amen. For him to be able to graduate. We've got a court that's setting up laws, but they've not set any boundaries. And here we are trying to just make all the boundaries available to every person. And it's not going to happen. I assure you, if you give them everything they want, there's going to be somebody come along that wants some more. And at some point, we're going to have to say, you know what? We're drawing a line in the sand. We are moral human beings. Whether you believe in Jesus or not, you're a moral human being. You better have some boundaries or your life's a mess and we don't need to hear from you anyway. We need to set some boundaries, Carl. You're a good man. I know you are. You coached my daughter. You taught my kids. And I believe you're in a tough situation, as in all of you. And I'm praying for you. And I'm believing that God will give you the wisdom to set these boundaries. That say, you know what, we'll provide, but we're drawing a line. Otherwise, you are bullying us.
Thank you, Rusty.
Jordan Stewart.
Hey everyone, like they said, my name is Jordan Stewart. I actually graduated from Pickens High School in 2017, but my junior year of high school I actually came out as gay, and so I was a member of the LGBTQ community here in Pickens County High School. And unfortunately, Unfortunately for me, I faced a lot of discrimination, I faced a lot of bullying, I faced a lot of judgment on a day-to-day basis, which was terrible for me. But coming from a cisgender, meaning that my sex lined up with my gender identity, I was already privileged in that sense. And just coming out as gay was very hard for me. So imagine what it's like for these transgender students here in this place, first of all. Second of all, I wanted to emphasize the point that a trans woman is a woman. A trans man is a man. So when you sit here and you say that you think you're going to be a man walking into the bathroom with a woman, that's not the case. You're a man walking into the restroom with other men. A trans person is just as valid as you are. I also secondly want to make a point, if we're going to talk about Christianity and how this intersects this conversation, the overarching theme of Christianity is love and acceptance. That was Jesus' number one word. Jesus preached love and acceptance, and quite frankly, when it comes to trans students using the restrooms, they're just trying to get in to pee, they're trying to poop, they're trying to do their business, get in and get out. Nothing more, nothing less. But my biggest issue that I want to talk about right now, and I have the facts on my phone about it, is to talk about trans students and how they're bullied here in the state of Georgia. 9 out of 10 transgender students are actually verbally harassed in school due to their gender identity, and more than half of these trans students have been physically assaulted in school systems because of their gender identity. So for all of you straight cisgender people who think that you're uncomfortable right now, imagine the people that are physically assaulted on a day-to-day basis just because they try to use the bathroom. Secondly, nearly 60% of transgender students have been forced to use a restroom or a locker room that's inconsistent with their gender identity in Georgia school systems, and that is considered discrimination, and that is protected in any state. So discriminating against students is wrong and it's illegal, quite frankly. More than 63% of transgender students avoid using the restroom because of fears of harassment or assault. This can lead to physical health problems. Trans students are trying to avoid the restroom for fear of being assaulted verbally or physically, and that's wrong. That's inhibited. That they're not able to learn in those circumstances. So, and all this. I'm sorry, I'm speaking. So if you want to speak, and sign the silence. So my question to the board is, I know bullying is a problem here in the Pickens County School District, but I think we need to really focus on how bullying is even more so for the LGBTQ community. And I think it's great, and I applaud you for the transgender policy that you're enforcing in the restrooms. I really do think it's great, and you do get my respect for that. But I want to know, even us having this conversation, it's still going to trickle down into trans students, even if we continue to enforce the policy. So I would just like to know what the school board would like to do going forward to make sure that trans students aren't discriminated against and that they're not bullied. And I'm almost done, so you guys will be down with me in just a second. But I just wanted to make sure that we all know that trans rights are human rights, and we demand equality for all and nothing less. And we will not stop until we get equality for everyone. Thank you.
I'm gonna ask, I don't mind you applauding for whoever it is or whatever you're talking about, but I don't want the negative comments going to the speakers. We're gonna be civil. More than anything else, you're adults, and you're gonna be civil with each other.
Barbara Hawkins.
my thing is for the military. We don't allow our military to do a fire in all of our schools. Does our officers do it? Does the officers do it or police? Why are we allowing them in the schools? It's a Christian thing. I teach my girl right from wrong. I said, why are we allowing them in schools with the militaries and other stuff? Yes. Why are we allowed?
The question was, why are we allowing this in the schools when it's not allowed in the military?
Sandy Bartlett. Sandy Bartlett.
I'm sorry, what? I'm going to. I'm going to answer the question as soon as we get them all up here, and we'll go through all of them.
Last call, Sandy Bartlett.
Sandy Bartlett.
I do care about our kids. I do fear because there have been instances where kids have been raped, and it still continues to happen. And bottom line is God's word. God made them male and female from birth. And I think as people, as humans, as adults, we have to be careful of our words, even around our own children. And when I was younger, my mom had told me that she wished I was a boy because she wanted to give my father a son. And that was hard. And for a long time, I wished I was a boy. But I'm glad that the laws that are being enacted now weren't enacted then, because I'd really be screwed up. And I'm so thankful that I'm a woman now. And that law was made to accommodate me. So I want all of our children to be protected. As the first speaker said, there are provisions in place for them to be accommodated, but to put the rest of the kids at risk, or to have a child come in and say, oh, that's what it looks like, is absurd and should not be happening.
Sharon Paget. Sharon Paget.
My concern is, I live here, but all these people, and I want to say first off, I love y'all. I don't care if you're male, female, or whatever. I love every one of them. I drive a school bus. I've drove the bus for 29 years. I've never had another steady place on my bus, whether it be male or female. I didn't have to pull them apart. I didn't have a problem with it. I've never had a problem with that on my bus. The concerns with the teachers and stuff having guns, I'm sorry, I don't understand that. Just put another officer or two in here. They not had a bad day, and they don't make the wrong decision, and then they've got to worry about that the rest of their life, because they'll do time if they do the wrong thing. You couldn't pay me enough money to carry a gun on my bus. And this thing with the bathrooms. I'm the first guy that stood up, gotta go to the bathroom. You know if you're a male or a female, just go to the bathroom.
Alicia Watkins. Alicia Watkins.
Most of what I was about to say has already been said. I would like to say that my heart is really sad at the amount of hate that is not only sitting in this room, but that has been on Facebook. We are all humans, all of us. God told us that we are to love regardless. Regardless of what we convict in, regardless of what we agree with, we are to love. My issue is that I have 2 daughters. I'm worried about not only at school the safety, but you said you were going to address that, so I'm going to, put faith in you that you are. What about the facilities at the football games? There are multiple people coming in and out of those football games. You don't know if they're pedophiles. You don't know who they are. I'm not concerned with the students so much as I am the public. The basketball games, anything. I just need to know that my girls are going to be safe to go to the restroom by themselves. Because before, if you walked in, we're trying to go into a women's bathroom, I would say, hold up, what you doing? But now I don't have that option. If you walk into the gender neutral bathroom, I can't question you. I don't have the right to question you.
Thank you.
Latasha Chumley.
Most of my concerns have already been talked about, but they were talking earlier about bullying. Just Friday, my daughter posted something on Facebook and she found out about all this. And at the lunch table Friday, she was called a homophobe. My daughter loves everybody. Always has, always will. But for her to be in the bathroom and a boy walk in, it's not right. She's only 15. She's not even 15 yet. She'll be 15 the next month. I would like to keep her just a little bit innocent, a little bit longer. My son and his mama, what am I going to do if I'm standing at the urinal and a girl walks in? Am I supposed to hide? Am I supposed to run away? I just want to know that, and I think one stall bathrooms would be a great idea.
Yeah.
That way everybody has a bathroom. I'm not saying that they don't have the right to use the bathroom, because they do. They are humans just like we are. The bullying is on both sides, not just
Thank you.
Tony Davis.
I would like to say that Jesus is love, and we love him because he first loved us, and he said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. I would like to say that I talked to Tony Young last Thursday, I think it was, and he told me this whole decision was based on the fact that you wanted to avoid a lawsuit, okay? This is a form that I think every parent in this district should have the access to, that will require you to tell us how you will ensure our children will be afforded their right to privacy. You have constantly stated law. There is no federal law that requires you to make this decision. Are any of you guys aware of the decision or the case that was argued before the United States Supreme Court last Tuesday, EEOC versus Harris Funeral Home? That whole discussion, the whole argument was based on the definition of sex as it was entered into federal law in Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Does sex mean male or female? Or does it mean male and female and gender identity? In 1964, gender identity wasn't even a part of our vocabulary. Amen. So it could not have meant that. So this case, we're asking the highest court in the land to determine the definition of sex as it is in federal law. What has happened last week also, the Board of Education of Pickens County decided to redefine the definition of sex to include gender identity. You did that. When you made that decision, let me just say this. Every child in this district, and even all of you sitting up there today, this goes farther than the bathroom. It's the showers, the locker rooms, the football field. Everybody sitting here, and every child in this district, when they walk into one of those areas, they have an expectation of privacy from the opposite sex. You took that away from them. You took that right away. That is a constitutional right. When my daughter walks into the bathroom and she sits down on the toilet, when the door opens, she has no idea who's coming in. And this is fluid gender. So somebody can come in and identify as a female at breakfast and a male at lunch. And they can go into any bathroom they want. My daughter has the right to bodily privacy, the expectation of body privacy when she comes in this school. Every child in the district has that right. And as soon as that right's violated because of your policy, the one lawsuit you avoided you would love to have, because you're going to have a whole lot more. You may win the battle today, but you will not win the war. There'll be an election for your seat soon.
Good evening, my name is Joshua Johns. It's hard to follow the first gentleman. However, I will state that we've had a lot of things, people have said what they feel. This last gentleman alluded to several cases, and I'm going to tell you what the law says. Under Title IX, USC 7.1686 says that states that schools can maintain separate living facilities for the different sexes, and they shall provide separate toilet, locker room, shower facilities on the basis of sex. Not sex as. One sex. There is no transgenderism. Our illustrious President, Mr. Obama, attempted to redefine what sex was and include gender identity. The Equality Act did not become law, and as of this year, 2019, there is no federal law that requires public schools to allow boys into girls' restrooms or girls into boys' restrooms. That is law. On Thursday, you stated Dr. Carlson, Wilson, you had stated that you had contacted engineers to see about taking all the bathrooms and converting them into unisex bathrooms. I see that as a waste of taxpayer dollars. In every restroom, there is a latch and a door. Go into that bathroom if you need to squat, stand up if you need to stand up. That's all there is to it. That's it.
Carrie Lott. Carrie Lott.
Most of what I was interested in saying has already been said as well. I will say, I originally came in here sort of sympathetic, maybe even empathetic for the board, because I was under the impression that all of this was being done because it was being mandated by courts. I hadn't done any digging or anything. I just believed what I heard. I appreciate you for apologizing for misspeaking on that. I've also had some discussions with some others here tonight to help me understand that a little bit better. My main thing, I was here originally, was because I was very angry with the fact that you tried to hide this. This is something that you could have presented to us and said, if it was being mandated by law, parents, you can talk to us, we'll listen to you, but the court's making us do this. Well, now I find out the courts aren't making you do this, so that's out the window. But you hid it. You tried to sneak it through.
Vote him out. Every one of them.
And I am so disappointed with the people that we elected. It's already been said that, yeah, there's elections coming and all, but y'all are in charge right now. Y'all are the ones doing this. You're the ones that put the rules in place. We can yell and holler. Not sure if there's much that we can do at this point.
So.
There will be a time that we can do something. had to tell and explain this to my 10-year-old daughter. This should be, I believe the young lady that was speaking a little bit earlier was trying to keep the innocence of her 15-year-old, who's in high school, that sees a lot of crap already. I have a 10-year-old who's in elementary school. This shouldn't even be coming up yet. I have 2 kids here. I've got 2 kids at Hill City. Both my girls are concerned with what's going on. Yes, you're trying to come up with some individual stall plan with doors or whatever. But have you thought about the fact that there have been times in the past we went away from doors in bathrooms at all in high schools because of the things that happened in them? And now you're going to put a locked door on a bathroom stall with walls so nobody can see anything, and you don't know what's going on in there. I believe everybody needs to be able to have a place of privacy to do their business. I understand you're trying to do the right thing, but in the process of doing the right thing, you're wronging more than you're making right. Businesses and whatnot have done this. My company, you go into theirs, yeah, you see all the door bathrooms and all. They're adults. I get that. It makes sense. These are kids. These are kids. Well, we hope so. If you've got male parts, you go in the male bathroom. If you've got girl parts, you go in the girl bathroom.
I'm sorry, are we talking about black kids or trans kids? It's really hard to tell when you talk about keeping your kids separate from people that are statistically, about 5% of everybody is gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. 5%. That means that if you've got, what'd you say, 4,280 kids in the school district, that means you've got 110 kids from K through 12 that are gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender. 110. That means they're already in the bathrooms with your straight kids. You know, why is this such an issue now when you're worried about, you know, somebody of a different gender when you've already got gay, lesbian, bisexual people in there? It's not an issue. I mean, the idea that somebody...
All right, come on now, guys. Come on, guys.
The idea that somebody is going to turn their entire life upside down, that they're going to take hormones that are going to change everything about themselves, you know, it's not just how you look. I mean, honestly, if you have ever seen a trans man, you would not be able to tell if this person is not a man. I mean, seriously, look, if you don't know who Buck Angel is, look him up online. The dude's a bodybuilder. He's got a beard. He's got he's going bald because now he's in his 50s. And Buck Angel was born a woman. You wouldn't be able to tell, you can't tell when you look at these trans kids whether they were born XX or whether they were born XY. You don't know.
Come on, guys.
The idea that somebody would go through all of this just to use another bathroom when you've got the whole internet full of free porn is just absolutely ridiculous. You talk about your kids being uncomfortable, and I gotta say, when I was in high school, I was a fat kid. And I had to go to gym class and I had to change, and I hated it. I hated having to be naked around anybody else. I was embarrassed. It was shameful. I was taught body shaming from a very young age. I was uncomfortable the whole time. Sorry, I almost said it again. Should my school have stopped having gym class because I was uncomfortable having to change? So my question is, why is my discomfort, why should that be everybody else's problem? Why shouldn't I be saying, yeah, being uncomfortable, that's part of life. Sometimes you're in things that suck that you don't like, and you just kind of say, well, that's the way life is. Because it is that. And you're going to have to deal with people all your life, different genders, different ethnicities, different races, different religions. And it's going to be uncomfortable and difficult sometimes. And the sooner people get acclimated to being discomforted, being uncomfortable, the easier time they're going to have adjusting to the rest of life. Finally, and lastly, I was an ordained minister. I was a missionary for a number of years. I think it's absolutely shameful that people are using Jesus as an excuse to the first law of Jesus, when he was asked what the great commandment was to love the Lord thy God with all your heart, might, mind, and strength. And the second is like unto it, love thy neighbor as thyself. Now the Pharisees asked, Jesus, who is my neighbor? And to that, Jesus responded with the parable of the Good Samaritan. Now, what many of you may not know is that Samaritans were viewed as subhuman by the Jews. So when Jesus was saying that the Samaritan was their neighbor, he was saying not just the good Jews, not just the people that look like you, that think like you, but people that you think are abhorrent under the laws of God. Those people are your neighbors, and those people are the people you are supposed to love. Jesus also said, if a man compels you to go a mile, go with him 20. Jesus commanded people to love and to treat people well. To treat people not only well, but go farther than they ask. Finally, if God has a plan, if God knows everything, how do we presume to know that this is not part of his plan? Why do we want to take Jesus' sacrifice and his fulfilling the law of Moses, and then turning back the clock and going back to the laws of Moses in Numbers, Leviticus, and Deuteronomy, and obeying the old laws that Jesus fulfilled? Why do we want to undo his sacrifice?
Lane fan. Jody Shipley.
Good evening. I'm probably not going to have the most popular opinion or be the most popular person when I leave here today, but I see both sides of the story to this. Individuals who are choosing to change their gender, they're human beings too. They have feelings, they have beliefs, they have rights just like we do. But on the same side of the story, I also look at it from my view. I have 3 daughters in the school system. On Friday, when all this took place, you said that our children would be protected on Friday. You failed. My daughter called me. Boys are walking in the bathrooms like it's no big deal. Making a joke out of this. Peeing in the floors. That was my child being disrespectful like that. I would have a problem. You need to set some boundaries because they have rights, but my daughters have rights. Her son has rights. That's right. Her son has rights. But I will say this. It's more apt for a boy to overpower a female than a female to overpower a male. My children are not threatened by transgenders or gays or lesbians. My children are threatened by the kids who don't understand the policy that you might have in place or you don't have in place. They don't understand that they should have rules set. You have to have documentation of a child that has heart condition. I had to provide it. Provide iron condition and diabetes. Transgender kids should have written something from doctors. Parents. You have that right. Don't want to discriminate against them. But if my child has to provide documentation, they need to provide documentation. Everybody in the school, authority-wise, should know who those individuals are. If you see them walk in the restroom, whatever, who cares? But if there's a boy who's following my daughter because she turned him down, she has a right to defend herself.
Exactly.
She will defend herself.
Exactly.
So these kids, whether they're male or female, thinking they can just walk in this restroom whenever, I hope they're prepared to meet my daughters.
And my daughter.
Brianna Magic.
Mr. Young, go ahead and put that on the board.
Yeah, put that on the board.
Sorry, I'm kind of short. Okay, so I've never really spoken in front of anyone, so just pray for me on that. But the way I see this kind of is how many of y'all work in a place where there's an employees only restroom? Regardless of what side you're for, how many work per place with an employees only restroom? So
Kids.
there are teachers here. Is this not their workplace? Anyway, so let's say if I am working
or if I'm working at Kroger or Publix or wherever, and I'm a grocery bagger, I get to use that employee's restroom. If I decide that is not my job, I do not like that job, and I go to school, I pay all this money, put in all this effort to go to school and be a dentist, and I get my job at my dentist office, if I have to use the restroom, are they gonna make me go all the way back to Kroger, where I used to work, to go to the bathroom? Or can I use that employee restroom that I earned by going to school and earning that degree that I want for the career that I feel I fit in? And then on a side note, by listening to all these other speakers, I can't remember who it was, but they mentioned the whole, oh, that's what that looks like. I really hope that you're not admitting your child is looking at other children's genitals. Like, I'm sorry that if that child has their genitals out in an unlocked stall, then...
What about a urinal?
Come on now, let's...
Ma'am, I don't know if you've been in a men's restroom, but urinals do have dividers, and still, if it is out, you should not be looking. It is your choice to look. Just like my back is facing y'all right now, so you cannot see what is in front of me. Saying that if I was at a urinal right now, you could not see what is in front of me.
Okay guys, come on, knock it off.
And also, sorry, I had to, my notes aren't loading. So with the whole, the very first guy mentioned that, there's people here just for the attention. This law has already been passed. The only reason we're here is to make everyone that is not in agreement with the law.
Okay, please.
Sorry, this rule has already been passed. The only reason we're here speaking on this is to make those that aren't in favor of this rule more comfortable with it. And that's why these men up here have explained that anyone that does not have the documentation and is seen in this restroom will be punished. Just like what the last speaker was talking about, how, boys and girls going into the wrong restroom that isn't on their student file. Yes, by all means that should be punished. But trans children have the documentation and are ready and able to prove it. And that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Dr. Wilson and board members, county attorney, where's he at? Don't let the redneck dialect fool you, okay? I'm going to speak with my back to you as a symbolization of who really owns this microphone right here. When I first, and I just added this on my notes, all the citizens here, tax-paying citizens, okay, that actually pay taxes here for the community. I'm appalled that this has turned into a filibuster from young children that can't even sometimes buy cigarettes yet. Okay? And we, the hardworking American people of this community, is getting lectured by an opposing party in the school that we pay for. We live in the United States of America. This honor was paid for by aunts, dads, sons, and daughters in blood. Okay? We live under the law of the land, which is the Constitution, which gives all equal rights who live here under the law. Key point. Correct, attorney? Under the law. I want to make a general statement here Where does the rights of the transgender community end and the rights of my son and daughter begin? I have 3 questions, and I want answers. How do we, the people, get answers from the school board and our elected officials who pay the taxes in this community? Who is really in charge? Who's in charge?
Put that on the board.
The people or you? We pay the taxes. We pay for your suit, your shoes, and your socks. We pay for that. We do. That is not a right. That is a privilege given to you by the constituents that are sitting here today and at home. So that's my first question. The lack of transparency is my second question.
Yes, sir.
Why was the lack of transparency? Why was the community not involved and being notified over what was going on? And was done in the dark of the night, in a boardroom, in a meeting room, and now we have this situation. Third and final question. As a hard-working, tax-paying citizen of Pickens County, if this decision is upheld, where do I and the other constituents sitting here among us today get in line to get my tax dollars to where I can send my son or daughter to a school that will uphold their values of education in the state of the state? I will wait for your answer.
I wanted to speak tonight because I'm a facilitator for Darkness to Light, Stewards of Children. Has anyone in here heard that?
Yes.
Okay, I want to turn this around myself. All the teachers in this county should have been trained in that. We got a grant to make sure that all our teachers in this school were trained. And this is the prevention of child sexual abuse. The reason I became a trainer is because, do you know where we rank? Atlanta ranks in sexual trafficking? In the nation? No, in the world. Think again, in the world. And it's very close to that, and our students are just as susceptible to it as anyone else. With the internet now, all of them are susceptible to it. So we, as adults, have to take the steps to protect our kids. Not leave it up to them anymore, because it's become awful. It's gotten worse, and we've got to do it. As parents, as adults. I have grandkids in this school system. So what I want to say is, all laws are not good, even if that is a law. All aren't good. We have to stand up, everyone in this room, and make a decision to change it if it's wrong. To do what it takes to make it right, because that's what we owe our kids at the very minimum.
Bryson Sewell. Bryson Sewell.
We still got 45 minutes. I'm going to try to. Yeah.
Excuse me. Thank you. First of all, I want to start off by saying that I'm recently engaged, and I had plans to live here in Pickens County, but now because of what is taking place, I'm not sure if I want to do that anymore. Because I do not want any kids that I may have to go into a bathroom that a biological male could go into the same bathroom as my biological daughter. Or vice versa. Because it's wrong. God made us the way we are. If you got something between your legs, you're a man. And if you're right there, and I'm very disappointed. I may not live here in Pickens County, but that doesn't change what is right and what is wrong. That's why I'm here today, because what is going on is wrong. What is going to stop somebody that says, oh yeah, before I get there, can you read to me that first part of the discipline about people that claim to be transgender going into the bathroom, that don't have, that claim to be man or woman?
Any student found entering or exiting or occupying a gender-specific facility that is specifically for a gender which is different from the gender indicated in the student's records, the following shall occur. Parents to be contacted. After a review of the incident, it was determined that the entrance into the facility was not associated with gender identity. The student will be suspended for the remainder of the school year. The suspension will include all extracurricular activities, including prom and graduation.
Thank you. And is there any documents that the students will have to give, or the parents of the students that will have to give to notify you of their status on that?
I'd like to say right now, we're dealing, and we're going to do some more talking about that in a few minutes. And we're dealing with just one or two children as far as going into the male restrooms at the moment. One minute, I'll get to that in just a few minutes.
Okay, and one more thing. What would say that somebody, like a man, because I'm just out of high school and I know how it is, what would say that a man go and say that he claims that he believes that he should be a woman, okay? And he decides to go into the woman's bathroom after making that claim, when really all he wants is to get close to another girl.
And that person will be prosecuted under the law.
You can't look into the hearts of people. You can't look into the minds of people.
Yeah, we're not opening the door and saying all the doors are coming out of the door. If you think that, then you're wrong. If you think that, you're wrong. That's not going to happen. And if it does, those students are going to be suspended, and if it violates the law, it will be charged. All right, our next speaker, please.
Cameron Smith. Cameron Smith.
Hi everyone, my name is Cameron, and I am 23 years old. Not that that matters, but might as well start somewhere. Okay, now I think it's great that everyone is coming here tonight, and Ooh, let me turn around and see everyone's shining and bright faces. There we go. Okay. All right, now, I appreciate that everyone has come here and said their opinions tonight, because everyone's opinion matters, and we all have a right to our own opinions. Agreed? Yeah. All right, okay. And to the very first gentleman who got up here, first of all, thank you for your service in the military. I really appreciate it. And I would just like to say that you brought up that as a Southern gentleman, that it is important to not go into a bathroom specifically given for a woman. But I am also a Southern gentleman, and to give courtesy to women, I must say that a woman should be whatever she wants. I genuinely believe that. And that includes if she decides that she wants to transition to be a man. But, like I said, everyone's opinion is important. And you all were bold in coming here and speaking. So, thank you all for doing that, and good night.
Stephen Lawrence.
Good evening. Last school year, we had a meeting kind of like this at Tate Elementary. We had a alleged pervert on the sex offender list walk into Tate Elementary and walk into the boys' bathroom with boys in it. I'm a little surprised that we're going to stand up here and pretend like we can control everything that goes into a bathroom based on that example alone. I still don't know how much of our tax money has been spent to increase security at Tate Elementary. I know we're about to spend a lot more tax money for changing some bathrooms that don't need to be changed. I would invite the media next time to show up when we have strangers walking into schools, in our elementary schools. My other question is, and I do feel for these children. I don't want to bring religion into it, but I had to pray too watching Facebook over the weekend. I hope that they are not reading some of the stuff on No Pickens or Pickens Progress that's being posted on Facebook. But there are questions that have to be answered, and besides taxes and security, despite what you're saying, you are opening a door. You're opening doors that lead to questions like, what happens if a male decides he wants to play on the female softball team? What happens when they want to use those locker rooms? What happens when the parents of a second grader decide to make a political statement, and then we have to have transgender restrooms in the elementary schools? You've opened up all these doors. And then you're going to sit there and say you didn't. Then you have no imagination whatsoever, which is probably part of the problem. That's why, we have security issues already as it is. I'm going to leave it at one more thing. There is a way to tell if you're a man or a woman.
Exactly.
And it has to do with chromosomes. And I hope that if you're teaching our children science, that you go and look it up. Because it's mind-boggling some of the lies that we will sit here and believe in order to entertain, you know, I don't know, I don't want to go there. But I'm going to leave it there. Go look at a science book. There's a way to tell men from women. Thank you.
Lisa Ray. Lisa Ray.
Never done this kind of speaking before, never really thought I would tonight either. A lot of issues have been covered tonight. My daughter is really going to literally kill me when I get home, and she may not even speak to me no more. But our schools are teaching our kids that all of this stuff is okay. We just fly by, and this stuff is supposed to be okay.
It is okay.
It is not okay. I feel for this child. I do. I understand this child is wanting to have a place in this life. And I agree. They should have this place. And it should be a loving and caring environment. We all dream of this. Does it exist right now? But at the same time, is it fair to the rest of our kids to have to give up what they believe in and what they feel safe in doing? My girl says she's okay with it, and I'm going to. We didn't finish our conversation this morning when I set her out at school. No, you need to just stop. Just say it. Now,
Yes,
I'm trying very hard. I'm trying to be a Christian woman,
all right, guys.
and we do fail short every day. Every day I have to ask for God's forgiveness for my sins, not for anybody else's. And I want this child to have a safe place to be. I do. I do believe I know who it is. They're adorable. But what makes their lives more special, more precious than our other kids here? You're putting them in God help us, because this is just a beginning of what's to come. And I have to say, I was lucky to grow up when I did. Absolutely. I would hate to be with you kids right now in this high school. They bully each other. They get bullied from above that administration levels. They teach our kids that all of this stuff is right. And we need back a hold of our own kids. I want to know what my kids are being taught here. I want to know. Because everything that they teach is not correct. And this is one of those things. I want them all to be safe. You give them an opportunity to do something that was safe, and they have now rejected it. Should that fall back on the rest of us and the taxpayer money that it's going to cost to do all of this? We work hard. I'm in lower income, if you want to know. I never thought of myself as low income, but I'm low income. I see my daughter every day coming in and telling me, oh, well, that's not the right way to think, Mom. You don't know how it is anymore. I do know how it is. I've watched it. And I'm tired of everybody walking in and saying, your way is no longer working anymore, that we need to change everybody's positions here
CL Stanfield. CL Stanfield.
Hello. So I'm not the biggest fan of talking in front of crowds, probably like most young people you have met. But I did graduate from Pickens County High School in 2017, and I did start my physical transition right after I left, and I did come out. I did come out while I was in school, and when I came out, I knew there was no policy, and I knew that I was a very rare case. I did not decide, okay, I'm going to keep using the women's. I did not decide I'm going to keep using the men's. I didn't really even decide when I did start going to different bathrooms. I used the nurse's bathroom and the bathroom in the office. When I started doing that, it was because I knew whatever I did, if I used the women's bathroom, if I went into the freshman hall and used the women's bathroom, my brother was a freshman when I was a senior. They knew me as his brother. If I walked in there, somebody would have been calling saying, there was a boy in there with my daughter. What are you going to do? If I went into the boys, it would have been, there's a girl in there. They've been going to school together. What has happened? Not in schools. If I went into the men's restroom, nobody actually cared. But if I went into the women's, and before I was on testosterone, before I went through all the medical, if I went into the women's, there would be moms. And I had been confronted by a mom before that would look at me and they would not want me anywhere near their children. They would not want me near their daughters. They were like, what is this boy doing? And they were confused. Before I started transitioning, it was 50-50. I'm small, I'm Asian. You can't even tell whether someone's trans if they have their hair short and they got soft features. You can't tell if they're male or female or whatever they're Asian half the time. At least to me, in my opinion. When I was in school, I would have rather used the men's bathroom. I would have. But I didn't feel safe. I did not get to start physically transitioning. But when I did, 2, 3, 4 months into physically transitioning, I could not use the women's bathroom. It would be a horrible idea. There would be a husband, a brother, who knows what, waiting outside for me being, what are you doing? I know that I am in a small portion of the population. And when I was deciding, because everything I did was apparently representative of everybody else in a similar situation to me. When I decided to use neutral bathrooms, it wasn't because I didn't want to make anyone else uncomfortable, and it wasn't about my comfort. It was the easiest thing at the time. Being in such a small population, I knew I went to doctors. I went to more than one doctor. All of them have said the same thing about me. There were other options. We tried, did different things. Transitioning ended up being the best thing for me to do. And I am very young. I'm 20 years old now. And it is a very life-altering decision. It wasn't on a whim. And I have documents proving so, that it was not on a whim. I didn't just decide one day, you know what, I'm going to be boy. I don't like the women's bathroom. They all talk to me there. I don't like it. I'm just going to go into the boys' room. It was months and years of decision making and deciding what was best for me. And I know that it makes other people uncomfortable. I wish it didn't, but I know it does. I didn't even think about coming here because for me, when I finally got settled on what I'm doing and what I am now, right now, I'm trying to be a student. I'm not worried about being transgender. I go to work, I look up for stuff for school, I try to find a car, not worried about being transgender. when I first saw this, I was like, okay, you know, some people will go, it won't really matter if I go or not. But the more and more I saw, because I work in retail, I see everyone's opinions, I hear it all. Love all my customers, whatever they think. I hear it all. I was like, okay, I am in such a small minority. Some people might not even know what a transgender individual looks like. They might not even know what somebody who has transitioned looks like. They might not even know what it looks like for somebody to be going through. Because everyone's at different stages.
Yes, sir.
Where I was, like, gender identity-wise and how I presented 3 years ago to now, I look like the same person. The only thing that's changed with me is I've grown as a human being. I'm just growing up like all the other kids. Transitioning ended up being a part of that, but it wasn't all of it. When it comes to bathrooms, when it comes to locker facilities, when it comes to public bathrooms outside of school, at the end of the day, we are a small population. Most people who are transitioning, that at some point when they're out and come to room up to use the other bathrooms, their family knows, their friends know, their doctors know, everybody knows. And if they don't know, well, why would they go into the opposite bathroom? If I knew somebody who was transitioning from male to female, who hadn't come out to anyone, why would they go into the women's bathroom for that day and say, you know what? I'm a girl, I'm just gonna use here. Oh, those friends? Yeah, I didn't tell them, this is how I'm coming out. They wouldn't do that. It is a process for somebody to go from one sex to another sex, from one gender to another. It is a process, it's not a split decision. There is a difference between somebody who just walks into the bathroom and says, hey guys, I just went in there, I saw all these girls. That person, they're friends with their guy friends, they know, they all know that's a guy. When I came out, everybody eventually knew that I was a guy. My support from person to person, different, but they knew. I don't particularly care whether someone agrees with my identity. I mean, whether somebody says I'm not. Some doctors say I can be, some doctors say I can't be. Who knows? But this was the right decision for me. And when it comes to bathrooms, you can tell the difference between some guy who just walks in there and wants to show off to his friends or creep on who knows who. You can tell the difference between that sort of person and somebody who is gone and tell their family, their friends, their doctors, whatever. You can tell the difference between a transgender individual and somebody who just wants to date somebody else's privacy.
We've got about 19 more speakers, and what I'm going to ask is there any speaker that would like to speak about an issue that hasn't already been discussed? Anybody else? 3, 1, 2. Is it about issues that have not been brought up yet? Yeah. All right. Those, okay, I see 3 hands. I see 19 hands. Who's next? Will. All right, whoever's next.
Michael McGraw. Michael McGraw.
Dr. Wilson, another clarifier, are you going to honor all of them?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Stephen Kyle.
Albert Stephen Kyle. Go ahead, Mike.
I'll get my spot up, Mr. Steve Loud, can I let him speak?
You're on the list, aren't you, Steve?
I am.
Okay.
I was first on the list.
All
I wouldn't go to all these people tonight. Listen, first I want you to know, school board, Dr. Wilson, thank you for allowing us an opportunity to share tonight. I do appreciate that, so thank you for giving us a voice. Just who I am, most people, but I'm coming to you as someone who has spent my whole life in this community. As a son and a proud graduate of Pickens High School, I'm also someone who has served the children and the youth of this community through 25 years of ministry and has demonstrated a deep love and support for our schools. Anybody here knows that I love our schools. If they come to any basketball game, they will know that, or football game. I am one of the loudest fans there and proud to be from Pickens County. Wendy joined me in this 20 plus years ago and actually served as the board chair of this board for 4 years. We have a long history of loving the kids in this community. And now I'm privileged 2 of my kids, my own kids, are in school in this community. So I love this community. And I want you to know, I'm heartbroken. This is a terrible decision for our students, for our faculty and staff, and for our community. You know what? And I'm going to speak to this. I fear for our transgendered students. Have you really considered what this does for them? I mean, there's 3 really bad things that can happen by allowing this. I won't even go into them, but I know what they are, and you do too. So I'm concerned about them. I've had the privilege of ministering with many transgender and gay students in the ministry that we do. I am fundamentally opposed to those things, from my Christian values, from science, biology, psychology, sociology. We are created male and female, but I believe everybody deserves to be treated with love and respect because we're created in God's image. But here's some things that haven't been said. One, I do want to agree, the privacy issue is my main thing. I am not as concerned about the transgender student, but guys, I've done ministry for 25 years. And Mr. Wilson, Dr. Wilson, I don't care what you say. There is no way you can police this. There is absolutely no way you can police this. All you're going to be able to do is deal with the bad consequences of bad decision. I also want you to know, are you aware Decatur City Schools has instituted this policy, and there is an Office of Civil Rights suit right now because of a young man that went in and assaulted a kindergarten student, a female, in the bathroom. It's an open suit right now, a civil rights thing. So, ma'am, y'all need to be quiet.
Okay, guys, come on.
It is my time to speak. And I want to know, we've got a lot of people here from Pickens County, or not from Pickens County, and they've been allowed to speak here, which I think is totally wrong. This is the Pickens County. The other concern I have, many of our staff, and they've contacted me, they are fundamentally opposed to this, and you have put them in a terrible position to have to deal with this. They are fundamentally opposed to it on many things, and on safety issues and everything, and they are having to deal with the aftermath of this. That is so wrong.
And told not to talk about it.
Yes. And told to be quiet about it from everything we understand, which again speaks to the issue we've already addressed of how this was tried to pass on us. It's super disappointing. The other thing, and thank you thank you that you did agree that this was not 11th Circuit. I went to lawyers ever since this came out. Guys, there is nothing that mandated this had to do. I've called you, I tried to talk to you, Dr. Wilson. You had Tony call me, which is fine. I love Tony and we're good friends. And but I told him, you guys have received poor legal counsel. And let me tell you I have friends that have contacts very high in both the Cherokee County and the Forsyth County school system, 2 of the biggest systems in our state and close by us. And their word was, we are all dealing with this. They said there is no way on earth we would do this. Matter of fact, the appeal that's in the 11th Circuit Court, they're expecting that decision to be overturned, and they're not daring to make a decision about it. And they said there's no way we would do this unless we are absolutely mandated to have to do it. So why did we in Pickens County to choose this and jeopardize all of our students and the safety and open this door? It makes no sense. Here's the last thing I want to say. My wife sat on this school board. I know how things work, many of them. And here's what I know. I know we were threatened with a lawsuit. I'm certain that's what happened. And we have a great fear of lawsuits. There are things that are worth being sued over. School board members, Dr. Wilson, Philip, Tony. The only question we need to ask for Pickens County, is this the best decision for all of our students? My answer, and I think all this is no, it is not. If that is the case, we will stand behind you to be sued. We will stand behind you to be sued. I'm fine with that. So, in my conclusion, the last thing I want to say, in conclusion, for the safety of all our students, I'm asking you to return us to a policy that all students will use the restroom based on their birth, biological sex, and appropriate accommodations be made for our transgender students. Dr. Wilson, it's my understanding that you made this decision as an administrative decision. That could be wrong, but that's what I understand from some of the board members I spoke to. I'm asking you to immediately reverse this decision. If you are unwilling to do that, then I call on our school board to make this our policy. That is what you're here for. You have the power to make policy. And if he is not willing to do that, then I'm asking you to make that policy. And if he is unwilling to do that, then you need to remove him as our superintendent. Furthermore, guys, I love you. I've been friends with you. I love you. But if you are unwilling to do that, I and many others that I've talked to, we will start the process to remove you as our school board. My son and my daughter are in these schools. This makes things unsafe for everyone. You cannot police this. You cannot make these decisions. You can't put people in the who can go in and who can go out. You can't do it. And this is a bad decision. We've opened a Pandora's box, and we've got to shut it. And so that's where I'm at on this, guys. I feel that passionate about it and strong about it. It is bad for our community. And I will stand with you to reinstate our policy, but I will stand against you if you do not.
Okay, just calm down, calm down. Calm down. Let me go. Okay, everybody calm down.
Rick, Cash,
Everybody calm down, please.
Thank you for letting me speak. Wanted to say first, I'm a honorable discharged Vietnam veteran. I've got a granddaughter that goes to this school. I've got another one in junior high coming up. Amen. They're on my heart. Brothers and sisters, this is wrong. I'm telling you it's wrong. I want to tell you something else. I'm a past chaplain for the Post 149 American Legion in Jasper. And there's only one time that I can read in Scripture where it was right for someone to go do something in the darkness to find the truth. It was Nicodemus. He was a Pharisee. Pharisees had to be sworn in for the beliefs of the first 5 books, the Torah of the Hebrew Bible. And had to have 3 witnesses. Nicodemus was more than that. He was a member of the Sanhedrin, 70 members, which was the guiding, ruling body. And he went under the cover of darkness to see Jesus for one thing, to find out where is this truth coming from? Miracles. He knew without a doubt that it was coming from God himself. Friends and neighbors, that's the only time it's right to go in the dead of night to do it, to find the truth. And Nicodemus found it. He purchased with his own money, and he was a wealthy man, 75 pounds of spices and oils to anoint the body of our Lord Jesus, which was big money in that time. Here we are today, fast forward. How can we come with this? There's a term that I'm sure you're all familiar with, the tail wagging the dog. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you this, it's not right for the small group to rule over all of us. It's wrong. I may be wrong, but I'm going to tell you what I think. On my back, I'm wearing a shirt from my family's reunion of 2015. It's got an anchor on the back of it. It says, "My family is my anchor." My larger family is you in this county. 30,000 people, 3,000 veterans, and as a nation, 1% of our veterans serve our country. And when you take that oath of office, it doesn't leave you when you get discharged in whatever condition you're in. Amen. We all want to serve. I want to recognize everybody's rights. But brothers and sisters, it's not right for a small group to wag us into some place we don't want to go, we shouldn't be going. Think about it. We can't do it. So I would ask, and by applause or standing up, I want Pickens County to be the place where political correctness comes to die.
Dr. Wilson and members of the board, Mr. Landon, I come as a parent today. I've got 4 kids in the school system. I've got 1 more that's going to be aging into the school system. And I come with a couple of concerns. I appreciate you speaking as you did at the beginning, talking about the legal process. When I first heard about everything that was going on, I did have concerns that it was not, while the legal terminology would be precedent, it wasn't binding precedent at that point. And so that was a concern. I appreciate you clarifying that today. My concern as a father is that I feel that I have to, there's an objective truth. There's an objective right or wrong. And several before me have spoken about what's right and what's wrong, and a lot of what I was going to say has already been said. But I think at some point we have to stand up in love, and love says tough things. Love says you're wrong. You know, sometimes love says, is my wife saying, you don't need that extra honey bun, or you don't need those things. Love says tough things. We have an absolute truth that I think we are called to stand up for. And I really don't believe this policy, I really truly don't believe the policy honors that truth that we should stand for. And so I would urge, I urge the board to wait and see what the decision says from the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. At that point, whatever its decision is will be binding. And at that point, there may need to be more conversation, but I think the wisest choice, and I urge you, is to wait and see what that decision is. This may not be something that has to be addressed. But I believe that's just the best course of, moving things.
The next name, I believe, is Michelle Tidwell.
Hello, and thank you for letting us all be here to share our rights as a human to say what we want. If you know me, you know I am a mother bear to my daughter. She's my world. She's my everything. She is the kindest person I can't believe I've even raised that kind of person. I don't know what to say about my daughter, but she is beautiful inside and out, and she has her own thoughts. She has her own feelings, but she does not push that on anyone. She does not tell somebody, she does not bully anybody because of the way they look, what they want to do. But when she tells me that she's just not gonna go to the bathroom for, what are we at school for, 8-9 hours a day? And that's gonna hurt her medically? Because she's just not going to go to the bathroom, because she's just not going to make a scene. What are we doing, people? What are we doing? To a person who loves everyone, what are we doing? Now, we all know that the bathroom is a private place. And girls have private things to do, and so do boys. So when my daughter goes to the bathroom to have a private moment, she's going to worry about some guy sitting next to her? Nope, not going to happen. I do not want this. No one wants this. And why are we changing it? If we don't even know what the courts have said for us to do, why are we bringing it up? Let's change it when it has to be changed. And I want to know if we are going to change this, and we're going to have to knock down these cinder walls and things like that just to make a closed-door bathroom. What are we going to do in the meantime to make my daughter comfortable? I've already had a friend that pulled 2 of y'all students out of this school. Did not go, started homeschool today. Money lost on y'all's part. 2 students, money lost, right? Because every time they're here, we get money. So what are we going to do if this is what we're going to do and we're going to change it? What are we going to do in the meantime to make everyone comfortable?
Michelle McClure.
Excuse me. First of all, I too would like to thank the board for opening up this forum for us to have a discussion. people may not know who I am, but let me tell you just a little bit. First of all, I'm a Christian. And to me, thank you. And to me, that does embody loving everybody. And I've seen on Facebook, and I've heard some things here today that quite honestly hurt my heart. To have the young man that came up and talk about how he was bullied, I can totally relate to that. And I'm sorry that somebody had done that to you. Had that been my child, they would have had consequences for that. So I apologize that nothing was done. I also want to say that I'm also a mom, a Pickens County mom. I have been for 21 consecutive years because of the way my children are spaced out. During that time, I've seen a lot of school board members come and go. I've seen a lot of teachers come and go. I've seen some new ones come that I love. Miss Destiny Show was one of, thank you, she deserves that. She was one of the first people that I encountered as a mom. My son Zachary has special needs. And when he started school, there wasn't a lot of accommodations for him. I remember sitting at Tate Elementary crying at a table because I had no idea how to raise a special needs child. And I had no idea how to access or to facilitate him and his special needs. She sat down with me, she held my hand, she said, I will help you figure this out, and she did. So I want to say this to everybody who's mad and upset with our school board. I have encountered almost each one of them on a personal level, and I believe that their heart's in the right place. And I want you all to consider this. When you're in an elected position, you're elected by all of the people, not just the people who have your same beliefs and values. And I do believe it's probably hard for them to express that at this time. So the one thing that I do want to say is this to our board and to Dr. Wilson. I'm not sure there he is. I want to encourage you to do this. Be bold enough to stand with your convictions, your personal convictions. If you stand with the majority, then stand with that majority. If you stand with that minority, then stand behind the minority. And there's even, I believe, a fine line there where you can stand behind both, as I do. And I know that's not popular, especially with my husband. If you know Charles Jeff McClure, he's probably saying, oh shit, shut up. But let me tell you this. I love all children. And back to my Zachary, he had to have special accommodations made for him. And those special accommodations weren't popular with everybody. But not once was there a board meeting to say, what are we going to do with Zachary? I have a daughter now who has dyslexia. Not once has anybody said, what are we going to do with Katie? She's got dyslexia. What's up there? I understand how it feels to be a minority in a big group. And there is a place and a time to discuss that, and I believe we've all done a very good job. I look at these topics that they've listed, and from every aspect, golly, you guys have done a great job. Military, we've heard a lot of different voices, and for the most part, I think we've done a really good job of getting along. There haven't been any fights, no brawls. Fox 5's here, and I know we were hoping for a little brawl. I think we've done a good job in not doing that. Really, we are. We're Pickens County. There are gay people in Pickens County, guys, sorry. There's fat white women in Pickens County, sorry. There are loud white women in Pickens County, a lot of us. But I said all that to say this. Two of the men who have come up here and spoke, and then one of them, I believe his name was, and I apologize, he had talked about how he couldn't complete his transition until after he left high school, and that he had used the restroom, the nurse's restroom, or the faculty restroom. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the same thing that's been offered to every transgender student in Pickens County, is that right? So my thought is this. If it was good enough for that young man, and I will have respect for you and call you a young man because I had no idea what it's like to go through that. I don't, but if you present yourself as a man, I will have enough respect for you to address you as a man. But you admittedly said that you didn't go through that transition until after high school. There's a reason for that. Until you're 18 years old, you're not able to fully transition. And I believe that the concern for the parents that are here today, along with myself, is this. Until you fully transition, whether you like it or not, and my heart does break for those who are going through that, but until you fully go through that transition period, unfortunately, you're going to have to deal with the fact that you are either a female or a male. And I believe in my heart that one bathroom for you, whether it be with a nurse or whether it be faculty or whatever, I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, that's the same type of bathroom that our board is talking about building. Is that right? Is that the same type of restroom that you're discussing construction of?
We're looking at several different possibilities.
Several possibilities. But what I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, is single stall restrooms that any student could use. Okay, so here's my thought, and I know I'll go around my back to get to my other elbow, but here it is. If what we're proposing is a single stall bathroom, is that not the same exact thing that they're being offered with the facility, with the faculty restroom? So my thought is this. Whether it's my beliefs or not, I've heard a lot of voices here today, and I do, honest to God, respect each and every one of them. But the majority of the people in this room, and let me say this too, I agree with the gentleman over here who said, if you're not a Pickens County resident, I'm sorry, you have no dog in this fight. No dog in this fight. If you are a Pickens County resident, if you're a Pickens County student, you need for your voice to be heard, and I do apologize for that. But let's take this a little bit further. Not just here today. I want you to think about this with every school meeting I've been to. And I'm going to call you all out on this too. When they call a school board meeting, you need to show up like this in Groves every single time. Destiny Show has meetings for parent involvement. You're not there. You're not. And don't give me that I've got a job, I've got to work. Guess what? I just worked 12 hours and my butt's here. So I want you to keep that in mind next time you want to complain about something. Don't take it to Facebook, take your notes and come on to the meeting and they'll listen to you. And I said that to say this. At every meeting I've been to, they were quick to accommodate me. They were so quick to accommodate me, so bored. I ask you this. Be accommodating to the people who put you here. Don't forget how you got here. And again, you remember too, audience, they were in a tough position. So take that into consideration. Pray about it. Don't just come at them mad because they didn't tell you. Look what it's caused. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. If I had some bad news to break to my husband, if I maxed out that credit card, guess what? I'm not going to tell him, oh honey, I maxed out the credit card. I'm going to slide him a bill on my way out the door to work. So you have to take that into consideration with that. And I'll say this too about this board. I don't know all of them personally, and I don't need to comment, and I don't know who our lawyer, I'm saying ours because we're Pickens County. I don't know who he is, but from what I've heard tonight, maybe we're not getting the best legal counsel we could, so maybe that is something that we need to be considered. And the money that you have started to allot for these bathrooms and the construction for these bathrooms, put in a little account labeled lawyer fees, because I believe that this audience has spoken and we're ready to go to battle with you, and you could use the money that it's going to take to build all these bathrooms for legal fees if they come about. From what I've seen, I don't think that's going to happen. And on a closing note, I want to say this. As a mother, I would never say or do anything to hurt your child. And there have been things said on Facebook that some of you have read. And I've seen the comments that Black Christians, OU Christians, want to talk about love, but you do this, that, and the other. All Christians aren't like that. Amen. So when you discriminate against me as a Christian, you're putting me in the boat with you. You've been discriminated against, and it's not right, but don't you dare discriminate me for being a Christian.
Pam McNamara.
Look.
I've known you for a lot of years, you know, haven't
Gonna have to push
Because I'm
microphone
talking
down.
to Carlton for the moment. I'll pull it down in a minute. How long have I known you? You know, a while. I'm real disappointed in you, honey. Real disappointed. I would also like to know how the rest of this board voted on this ruling. Can we have a show of hands? Who voted for it?
There has not been a policy.
Okay. You're talking about spending a ton of money for new bathrooms if it comes down to that. But I've had 2 girls go through this school system, and I've got another one coming up through it now. And every year, and it never fails, you send a stack of paperwork home the first day of school, about that thick, for us parents to fill out. Am I right? And one of those questions on that packet of paper says, gender. Male or female. It does not say other. I don't have an issue with lesbians, gays, none of it. You transgenders, if that's the lifestyle you want to live, you're going to have to answer to God for that. And saying you were born male or female, and until you have the medically necessary surgeries to transition completely, you are still male or female. That you send to me every year says, is your child male or female? And every year I check one of those little boxes. So not only are you talking about changing restrooms countywide, because in the middle school, you've already had an issue with it. In the high school, you've already had an issue with it. And I'll tell you about the junior high school, because I would prefer not to go there. Okay? But you're talking about changing an awful lot of paperwork and an awful lot of other things besides your bathroom. Okay? And that's going to take a lot of tax dollars. And I know my taxes were just raised $800 a year. And I was not happy about it. And it gets raised some more because somebody made a decision that they thought was right. I'm going to get less happy about it. Because let me tell you, in about 6 years, I can move to Cherokee County and not pay those old people taxes. I would move to another county today if I could do it. To get my child out of this school system when one man thinks that it's okay to make a decision countywide. I just would. Sorry.
Jeff McGraw.
Shirley, where they at? Stand up, man. I'm a Christian and I love you. But I'm gonna talk about something here nobody's mentioned. I've had gay friends, black friends, lesbian friends, and were with me, nobody abused them, nobody harassed them. So what's going on? We need to look at each other. I mean, y'all been on them all night.
If those are your friends, then you would support them 100%.
I'm saying,
No questions asked.
you're my friend, nobody let in on you, brother. I mean, like you say, Christians are supposed to love, but I thought we were supposed to protect the innocent and all that.
I'm down to read it, man.
I'm just saying it's a heart condition, people. We got to start where it's happening. He got bothered in high school, we need to go there and see what happens. I'm just saying.
Lisa Broussard. Lisa Broussard.
Okay, let's go to Lisa.
Elizabeth Downey.
Hi everyone. I gotta say, I'm so saddened by what I'm hearing from this people. I am a parent, and I'm a parent of 2 young daughters, one who is transgender at 8 years old. I have a kindergartner and a this affects all your youth. This is not just a high school issue, even though this is brought about by a high school.
It's a mental health issue. Come on, guys.
It's not a mental health issue. I am a labor and delivery nurse. Gender identity is identified in fetuses from 14 weeks to 16 weeks in utero. And just like many of you probably have sought medical care for cancer, dementia, Alzheimer's, people that suffer with gender identity issues, they go seek answers from the professionals that study the research. And I'm just so saddened because this affects all children, and you should love your neighbor like thyself. And God loves all his little children. And I remember when my child transitioned a year ago, and I started seeing signs of this at 3.5 years old. Signs that something was just wrong. And I'm just going to say that this has been the best decision. Young children don't medically transition. They don't do the cross hormones. They don't do any of that. Their transition is socially transitioning.
Guys, come on. Now, if you don't let her talk, and you're disrupting, I'm going to ask you to leave. So please let her finish like we do every other speaker.
I wanted to come up here too because the majority of people think that gender identity comes about in middle school and high school once kids go through puberty. And I wanted to be the face of somebody to let you know that this isn't what I had wanted when I prayed for a baby. This isn't the ordeal that I wish to go through like the transgender male said. Nobody wants to go through cross hormones and the decisions on whether they want surgery after surgery after surgery to just be who they are. But I also don't want my child discriminated against. I don't want my child singled out, saying that they can only use the nurse's bathroom where they're going to be susceptible to get infections because when you go to the nurse, you're going there because you're sick.
Okay, come on, guys. We've been pretty civil so far. Let's go right in here clean.
And I don't want them to also be singled out have to walk across campus to go to the 1 or 2 bathrooms that the school says that they should use. My child deserves the same education that everybody else. That's all I've got to say.
Charlie Adams.
I think somewhere on the line we lost sight of what tonight was supposed to really be about. It's not about gay, it's not about straight, it's about anatomy. Straight out anatomy. That's about safety also. Here's how safety goes, Miss Ma'am, talking about anatomy. You have a female, I have 3 daughters in this high school, ages 17, 15, and 15. I've done told them if a boy, I don't care, transgender, I understand. But you best sign up at the beginning of the year as being female, not other or as well. All this other crap that they're showing up here, it don't make a hill of beans of difference because there ain't nobody going to listen because they're already going to make their decisions. It's aggravating as crap because we were told one thing and something else is being done and they're just trying to just smooth it up just a little bit to make sure all of us that really have concerns about our kids don't know the truth about what goes on behind closed doors. I don't understand how y'all think it's all about being gay and stuff. I have a son that's gay. I have cousins that are gay. But guess what? They use the bathroom of the sex that they are.
I would like to say one comment that we're here tonight, I'm here tonight to listen to you. And because I can promise you that if I wasn't here to listen to you and that this was set already in stone, then I would be absolutely crazy to stand up here and take this. So I am here to listen to you. So please understand that. Because if it was optional, I wouldn't be here. If you'll just give me a few minutes, we will see. So in just a few minutes. All right, let's finish up the speakers if we can.
Tammy Packer.
Sorry. Okay, what I was going to talk about has already been mentioned, except one thing. I have a granddaughter that's in the middle school. She wears braces, has to eat soft food. Let's pass it that if you have braces, the whole darn school eats soft food. There is no difference. You're asking all of our kids to be treated. Now let's treat all of them fairly.
Tony Sasson.
First, I want to say something that's not improper. None of us can throw stones. We all live in glass houses. Every one of us. We all have something. This is about a couple things. Safety and just turn into tax dollars. You know, if it's going to be high school, when is it going to end up being junior high, middle school, and elementary school? When are we going to foot that bill? When are we going to foot that bill when it goes just from being high school down to all the schools.
It's already, it is.
You know, if the accommodations are being made, I don't see a problem with this, as in fight the lawsuit. You know, I'm raising 2 kids in the schools. I love the school system up here. But their safety of all our students, including those transgender, should be followed. Because we all know there will be those students, that when one of those students come to that bathroom, they're going to try something. They're going to try to assault them physically, verbally, somehow to hurt them, to scare them because they don't like it. And it's no different than if my son don't feel like safe to go to the bathroom because he's afraid a girl who was born a girl walks in there. I really, you know, if we got to fit the bill, I say we fight. Until it's a federal law, I say we fight. If none of the state y'all included. You know, y'all were gracious enough to have this meeting for us tonight. We do appreciate it. It is appreciated. But I think we really need to look deep down and see what the majority, as we was founded this country, the majority wants, not the minority. Thank you.
Joe Wigington.
Well, I appreciate this time, folks. I'm a veteran. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. I believe in the Constitution of the United States of America, and everybody, most folks in here does. I've got many brothers that's died for this country to give you the right to choose what you want to do. And that's the truth. But I am very, very disappointed in Mr. Carlton Wilson. I'm very disappointed in you, what you've done up here. And for you guys that sit up on the board, like I said, my name is Joe Wigington. I live on Burnt Mountain, and I'll be running for your seat.
John Wise.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank each one of you for having the ability and the time to come up here and listen to concerns, listen to opinions of others. On a side note, I think this meeting has turned into a microcosm of the macrocosm that we have in the school system, where we're allowing these situations to deteriorate in the meetings that are laborious, that are long, and that are not effective. We should have had rules in place, we should have had policies in place about this, just as we've had policies in place about this restroom issue. I sent each one of you an email this morning, and I did get one reply back from Ms. Young, and I do appreciate that. Didn't hear from anyone else. As a parent of 3 current students in the system, I'd like to address 3 issues that really have bothered me concerning this this directive that has been issued. The first is the one about safety. Many people have said stuff about this. But the school board has opened itself up to a plethora of lawsuits if these things are ignored and not corrected that already exist. We don't have the facilities in place in our all-male and all-female bathrooms to accommodate what's been asked for. The second concern is the financial burden that's placed on the school system by this decision. In lieu of the current situation, a transgender student in Pickens County is asked to use the restroom that coincides with the gender that they identify with. I'm aware that the school board offered that student a private bathroom, but the offer was refused. The student is insistent on using a restroom of the opposite sex.
less than 1% of the population considers themselves transgender. The financial obligation that the school system will incur because of less than 1% of the population is an irresponsible use of the funds that are collected by the school board. Especially considering that there's no willingness to compromise on the part of that student. Lastly is my most important concern, and that's the lack of transparency by the superintendent and the board. After the situation came to light, a directive, not a policy, and I do understand the two differences. A policy is something that is voted on, but a directive is an order given by someone that's in charge to other people. This was how we were going to handle the transgender issue. There was no communication, nor has there been with any of the public, students, or parents about officially what has happened. I've read multiple press releases that state there is no official policy, and you stated that many times tonight. But a directive is a policy, and we need to quit hiding behind semantics. At the staff meeting, we had comments were made that we were going to have this directive and that it needed to be kept quiet. Quote, I don't want to read about this 10 minutes later on Facebook. This is not how elected officials should institute directives. Being forthcoming, being open to all your people is the way you should rule and the way you should make decisions. Putting this directive into effect without addressing the students and parents has created an atmosphere of anger, confusion, and innuendo. The situation has been so emotional and volatile that a student posted on social media that students that disagree with this directive would make quote-unquote good target practice. The lack of communication from our elected officials has created far more negative reactions than it should have. In closing, I would like to see the school board and the superintendent reconsider this directive since it is not a law, and I've read the ruling multiple times. To me, this is not a moral or religious issue, but rather an issue concerning how the Board of Education and the Superintendent's Office and how they have executed their duties concerning important matters. Thank you.
Charles Hardigree.
All right, I'm going to say something real quick. Charles is not here. He had something that came up and he had to leave, but he asked me to speak for him because he has one major thing that is very important to him, and also one thing that I noticed myself as a student here at Pickens is that no other students, at least that I've noticed, have came up here and spoken, even though this is more directly about people, like the students at Pickens, than the other people who have came up here and spoken. So, and also, I'm sorry if my voice goes out a little bit. It's been a hot second since I've had some water. Anyway, okay, so Charles, his daughter, she runs track, and the main way she plans on going to college is to get a scholarship from track, or cross country, I'm sorry. And she is worried that, say, a guy who, he would be a little lackluster in the normal, like, men's track team, but on the women's team, he could, run laps around everyone else. And so he can, start being like, oh, I can do all that, and then gets put on that team, and then take scholarships away from the girls who can actually do it. And some of my personal problems, I guess you'd say, is that all the money that would be spent on, say, the 10, 15, 20 new single-stall bathrooms that would be filtered all throughout the school, that could be going towards better things here at the school. I've been on road trips in a small little Scion halfway across the country, and that's probably the most uncomfortable car I've ever been in. But spending, what, an hour or so in just one of the school chairs, my back hurts worse after that than it did being in the car for those 8-10 hours. And say the bathrooms we already have, instead of building new ones, actually, fix the bathrooms we have now. They're not good. So yeah, I don't exactly know what else to say. So.
I'll try to make it quick. I know we're all getting tired, but one bulletin that needs to be up there is while we were told via Facebook, and I've got things to say about Facebook, we won't go there. Do not come to the board meeting. This will not be discussed at the board meeting. And what happened? It was discussed at the board meeting. You made a statement at the board meeting. Okay. I have a daughter at the high school. I know times are changing. My daughter can't use pronouns anymore correctly. It's wrong to say a he, a she. Heaven forbid we say an it. Everything is they and them. And I mean, this is simple English, people. It's not rocket science. Y'all, I'm sorry, I'm worked up. I think you put our staff in a bad situation. What are we going to do? I mean, post a teacher at the door, okay? Can this teacher ask what somebody is? I mean, if they ask what a student is that not infringing on their rights? I mean, we're supposed to love everybody. Yes. We're supposed to take care of our kids. And I'm sorry. I mean, everybody's taught theology here. I'm going to get my turn now. God is love. But my Bible says, man shall not lay with a man as though he does a woman. And God destroyed a city of Sodomites. Read it. Okay. But I think you need to address the staff issue. Officer Roach, I give big kudos to Officer Roach. He is an awesome individual. He does lots for us. Sure, there's lots more I won't want to say after I sit down, but I appreciate your time and the opportunity to speak.
Mark Fountain.
We'll pass so that we can try to get some answers to these questions.
There's been a lot said about safety and concerns about boys going to girls' restrooms. I have asked my staff, our staff, to be very diligent when they are monitoring restrooms. They do have the authority to ask somebody if they're coming in the door, or they're a boy or girl, depending on which one it is.
That's
If it
illegal.
is,
Check your laws.
I'm sorry?
That is illegal. You are unallowed to ask what gender they specify. Oh, wait a minute, brother.
Wait a minute.
There's two genders, male and female. Can't look down and figure it out. You're wrong.
Come on, guys, come on, come on.
Y'all come down.
I have told my staff
6'10".
that they can ask.
Disqualified the rest of everybody
Right,
else.
if I'm either,
If you don't be quiet. We shut them down as a community then. Let them talk. Boy, what's up with it?
I have told my staff to not let what you're afraid of, what we all have some fears about, boys that are not transgender and going into girls' restrooms. They're going to ask if that's the case. And if, like my first statement about the discipline policy, if it's something that we're not aware of, then we're going to call you and ask you, is your child transgender, transitioning? Can you talk to him? And if the answer to that is no, and we discover that he's in there for the wrong reasons, then I'm going to suspend him for the rest of the school year. So there are discipline procedures in place to protect that. I can't hear everybody at one time.
Please, I have a question. Who is going to pay for additional staff to make sure that our children are not bullied in the bathroom and they are protected in the bathroom? All children deserve the right to be protected, whether
Absolutely.
they're transgender or not. But you're telling me, you're making a promise that my 8-year-old will be protected. You are gonna have to stand on that. I'm a mama bear.
Absolutely.
I'm not just a mama, I'm a mom bear.
No. You're absolutely correct. And I have made a commitment that they are going
I know
to be
you have
protected.
made a commitment. You also made a commitment about bullying. There have
Yes.
been numerous times that bullying has been brought up on Facebook, in school. It has been sent home. You can testify to that. You know that. It has been sent home in folders repeatedly in the elementary school. Can you please tell me, if you cannot control bullying on a elementary school level, how in the world are you going to control it in a high school?
But what I'm going to say to you is, she is a home right now. It's boys and girls that make out, lesbians that make out, and that's the word that they use. I asked her the question, how come that they are not teachers that monitor and stop that? And she tells me that there are no teachers that want to get involved.
If that is the case, please. Of course, you make the statement, all teachers, but if that is the case, and they're not covering the duties that they're assigned, and that's insubordination, and that should be dealt with on an administrative basis.
My 8-year-old, okay, who I chose
to allow her to come tonight because she has special needs. She would not understand any of this, okay? Nothing about it would she understand. How am I, well, I guess I have two questions. So, are there going to be extra psychiatrists, psychologists, pediatric ones at that? Are y'all going to hire that staff to answer these elementary or middle, junior high, high school children's questions? Because they're still children under the age of 18. They're still children, and it's our parents' responsibility,
Yes.
one, to keep them safe, and two, to make sure they're getting what they need in school. Because as of right now, I don't see that my child will be getting what they need in school. I'm ready for my child not to even go to school tomorrow. And Dr. Wilson, I have a 30-year-old and a 25-year-old. And you principled my 25-year-old. And she looked up to you. I've known you for 25 years. And I voted for you to be superintendent. Because I thought you were a God-fearing, Christian, good man. Then do not do this. I am begging you on my hand. I'll come up there. I will beg you on my hands and knees not to, in front of everybody. Box 5, I will get on my hands and knees and beg you in front of all of Georgia not to do this to my 8-year-old or anybody else's. My second question. You read the list of those rules. When have those list of rules mattered to any of these students who wanted to do wrong? When did it ever matter? Because at that point, they don't care if they get to go to prom. They don't care if they get to attend a football game. They don't care. The only thing they have on their mind is doing what they want to do wrong. They don't care about your rules. They do not care. Because, and then once it's done, once my 8-year-old is hurt, I don't care about your rules. I can promise you right now, he will promise you right now, you're not going to answer to him. You're going to answer to me.
I have a question. I want to know why my son has to walk almost a mile because the bus won't even come and get him, and you're accommodating people like that's already
Hi guys, I know that there's a lot more questions about things. This is totally going out of control. I am going to answer every one of these and I will send them out to you. I will do a press release. I will say that we are currently, that right now I'm going to take every bit of this into consideration over the next couple of 2 days, 3 days, and we'll suspend all policies for the next several days, and then I will get back to every one of you on a press release. Thank you.